You know me as the villain crushed by a boy's sling. But what if I told you the story is not what you think? You heard his side, the boy who slew the giant. But I bet you never heard mine. Welcome to my story. I was born into the Philistines, a nation of warriors whose lives were measured out in blood and steel. We lived for war, and war was good. I mean, we were strong, fierce, and skilled in combat. As a kid, I already towered over everyone. Other children ran from me because they were scared of me. Men respected me, looked up to me. They called me Goliath, which means great one or strong. It was a name that stuck, a name that became my identity, and to them I was a hero. To me, I was just a lonely kid who wanted to play. The problem was, I couldn't. Not when you're born a giant in a world full of ants. To them, I was a weapon, nothing more. They molded me, shaped me, trained me, made sure I grew up bigger, stronger, deadlier. They honed my skills in the art of war because we were at war all the time. And I mean all the time. It seemed like there was no end to the fighting. We, the Philistines, were always at war with those Israelites. They were annoying, always trying to steal our land, our stuff. And so we fought back. But for me, it wasn't about land or stuff. To me, it was personal. I hated those Israelites because they were the reason why I didn't get to have a childhood. They took that from me the moment I was born taller than all others, the moment I became a liability to them. Because let me tell you something, being a giant wasn't a blessing. Sure, I had strength, power, could feel invincible sometimes. But I was also clumsy. I broke things accidentally. I couldn't fit in most places. People looked at me strangely. I had nightmares about being chased, hunted down, killed because of my size. And that was scary. So yeah, I knew how to fight, but I never chose battle. It was chosen for me the moment I was born. That's why I respected the Israelites, even the ones who were afraid of me. They were brave. They fought alongside each other, shoulder to shoulder, even though they were smaller, weaker. They never backed down from a challenge. That's why I felt no fear when I faced David, the shepherd boy. Fear is a luxury I couldn't afford. Not if I valued the respect of my people. See, here's the thing. Back then, there was no guns, no fancy weapons. Back then, a man's worth was measured by his ability to kill another man. If you're big, strong, skilled, people respect you. But if you lose a battle, especially against someone weaker than you lose everything. And that's what those Israelites tried to do to me. Every day they sent new challengers, young men who thought they could defeat me, take my life. But I always accepted their offer. I fought them in duels. I beat them, broke them. I did this for years. It was tiring, frustrating, but it had to be done. It was my duty to protect my people's honor, to make sure no one looked at us, the Philistines, and laughed. That's why you can imagine my surprise when I first laid eyes on David. I was confused. I didn't understand why the Israelites sent him. He was just a young shepherd. I mean, look at him. He was small, skinny, barely older than a child. Was this a joke? A boy with no armor, no sword, facing off against me. He had a staff, a bag of stones, and a sling. But he walked towards me with no fear in his eyes, not an ounce of hesitation. And I don't know why, but that unsettled me. And then he started talking, yelling at me, cursing my mother, throwing insults, daring me to kill him. But he didn't run, he didn't hide, he just stood there, taunting me, daring me to make the first move. So I did. I picked up a rock and threw it at him. I hit him right in the chest. It stunned him. For a moment, I thought I'd won. But then he shook it off like it was nothing, like I didn't just hurl a rock at him. He did it again. And this time, he hit me right in the eye. At first, I felt nothing. Then a searing pain shot through my head. I could feel my eye pop out, spill out onto the ground. And then everything went black. All I remember is that stone hitting me, the unbelievable feeling of falling, the shocked faces of the crowd. That's all I remember before everything went black. And the last thought I had, the last question I asked myself was, how could this be? How did I, Goliath, the giant who had never lost a battle, who had never even been hurt like this, how did I fall to a boy? I was furious. Furious at myself, at the Israelites, at God, whoever was responsible for this. When they found me, I was already dead. The boy had hit a major artery. I bled out quickly, they say, but I was still a threat, even in death. They say they cut off my head and hung it from the city walls. Maybe they thought that would teach the Philistines a lesson. Maybe they hoped it would scare us. It didn't. It made us angrier. It pushed us to keep fighting, to take our revenge. And after that, no one remembered Goliath, the giant. They remembered Goliath, the boastful, arrogant fool who got taken down by a kid. They wrote stories about my defeat, passed them down through generations until my name became a synonym for overconfidence, for arrogance, for pride. But I wasn't proud. I was scared. Every time I went into battle, I was terrified. More terrified than anyone else, maybe because I knew how precious life was, how easily it could be taken away from you. I mean, look at me. I was born a giant. I was destined to die one too. I had no control over my destiny. The moment I was born, my life was forfeit. I was a pawn in a game of war, a piece of property. The Philistines owned me, and when they no longer needed me, they threw me away. They forgot about me. And here's the thing. I was more than just my size. I was a son, a brother, a man. Yes, I liked fighting, but I didn't want to die. Did that boy think about that? Did he care? No. He just wanted to win the fight. He wanted to be a hero. I get that. I mean, I wanted to be a hero too. I wanted to be more than just a giant. But sometimes being a hero comes at a cost. Sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. This was my sacrifice. And the worst part is, they never even thanked me. The Israelites didn't think twice about sacrificing me. They just kept coming until one of them finally put me down. I was Goliath, the giant. I fell to David. But now you know my side. Do you think I was arrogant? Do you think I was just a bully who picked on the weak? Well, I was. I picked on the weak because I was the weakest link myself. Do you think I was scared? Yeah, I was. I was scared all the time. But I had no choice but to be brave. There's no one to protect me. No one cared about me except my family. Do you think I was a monster? Maybe. But monsters are rarely born. They are made. The thing is, I didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted to live my life, protect my people, defend my home. That's all I knew how to do. But maybe the world didn't want that. Maybe my fall was necessary. Maybe it had to happen. After all, that's the only way the Israelites would listen. Hey. See, that's the thing about strength. Sometimes you gotta use it. Not for pride, not for arrogance, but for the greater good. I knew that. I mean, I was a warrior. I knew the value of strength, the importance of using it. And perhaps that's the lesson they wanted to teach the Israelites, that sometimes even the strongest, most invincible man can be humbled. Perhaps that's why I fell. Not because I was prideful or boastful or arrogant, but because I was strong. Because I could protect my people. Because I could stand toe-to-toe with the best of the Israelites. That's why I was chosen. I was chosen because I was the greatest. That's how they wanted to show the Israelites what true strength really is. And maybe they were right. Maybe I was the greatest. But now I'm gone. I was Goliath. I fell to David. But now you know my side. If you had lived my life, shaped by war and fear, would you have stood any differently? Okay, comment below. Tell me what you think. What's your story? Let me know. Thanks for watching. See ya.